What's up? My name is Meaghan and welcome back to Book Talk with Meg. Today I'm here with a really exciting video, one of my favorites to film, and that is my monthly TBR. Obviously this month is April, so with my April TBR, and April is also the month of the owls, which means that I will be adjusting my Candyland Picks My TBR game, which if you are new, have no idea what I'm talking about, I will link a playlist of the previous times I've done this so you can understand the rules and how it goes if you're new here. But yeah, I will be adjusting my Candyland Picks My TBR to fit in with the owls. So I just wanted to mention that because I do want to take part. I think that what G does, G is the one who runs this month-long readathon that is based on Harry Potter examinations. I think what she does is fantastic, so I wanted to take part. It always seems so fun. This year is the first year I'm actually like fully committing to it. So there's that. My career that I have chosen, because the aim of the owls and the newts, which are two exams that we are taking, is to aim towards a career. If you guys want more information on that, I'll link it all in the down bar as well, because I feel like most people know what the owls are, but in case you don't, all of G's information and the information for the readathon are going to be down below. But I chose Care of Magical Children because it kind of relates to what I do in my everyday life, and I thought it was a really cool career choice. So for that, I believe there's 6 specific owls I need to take. So obviously I am putting these owls in my Candyland game. Also, if you guys didn't know, for every book I don't read on my Candyland TBR, I add an extra spin to next month. So for this month I had to spin 9 times, I believe is the correct number. If you guys want to see the books I didn't get to for the month of March, it will all be explained in my wrap-up for the month of March, because this video is already going to be long with there being 10 spins. So, without further ado, let's hop on in. Obviously, I'm starting the board from where I landed last time, and we shall go on to spin number 1. So for spin number 1, I actually fell on a double blue, which if you guys forgot, when it's a double blue, it means that I go to the second nearest blue on the board, not the first one. And so that's exactly what I did in my first spin. And blue is a 5-star prediction, which again, I always insert a little chart with the colors and their meaning, so here it is. But for my 5-star prediction, I decided to go all out with the themes of the owls and just knock one owl prompt out of the way with Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which I don't think I need to talk about because it's Harry Potter, first book in the series, and I'm using this one to fulfill the prompt of transfiguration, so it has to have transfiguration in the books or the series. You know, Harry Potter does that, and I was having a hard time choosing anything else on my bookshelf. I'm not a big fantasy reader, so it's kind of harder on me to find these things to fulfill the prompts, but you can't go wrong with Harry Potter, and I've been wanting to do a reread for a while, so here it is. That's my first book, and obviously it's a 5-star prediction because I already know Harry Potter is 5 stars. My second spin fell on a double orange, and orange is a TBR vet, so a book that I've had on my TBR for a year or more, and I also used this opportunity to plug in a prompt for the owls. For this one, I went with Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw, which again is a book that's out of my comfort zone, probably why it's been on my TBR for so long, but I do really love the spooky vibes that this book brings. I just note that this is about witches, which is why I chose this one, because this is going to fulfill History of Magic, which is to read a book with wizards or witches, and this fulfills for the witches. I know a lot of people really love this book on my Facebook group, which I'm a part of, and I trust their opinion very, very much. So I decided to add this one on my TBR, and I'm so happy to get to more of my backlist titles. So there it is. My third spin brought me to another double yellow, and for that one, it's just to read one of your most anticipated books. And I chose This Train is Being Held by Esme Williams. This is a book about two very different main characters. I don't know if it's a dual perspective or not. I believe it is, and it's their encounters and how their different social classes and I believe different races kind of impact their relationship, and it discusses society standards, and I think they begin to fall for each other even though it's kind of not what their parents want and all that kind of stuff. I think it's going to be emotional, and it was blurbed by Elizabeth Acevedo, so if it's anything remotely close to what she does for her work, I think this is going to be very impactful. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, but it is a new release, so I was really interested in this one. I hope it does what I thought Field Notes on Love would do by Jennifer E. Smith, which I really didn't like last year, so we're giving the train stories another shot with this one. I fell on a double purple, and purple is a recent purchase, and for that one I also used to fulfill a prompt for the OWLS, and I went all out with this one because I did choose Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. I don't usually read Sarah J. Maas, but I was really intrigued by this one and all the hype that it was getting from a lot of different kinds of readers, so I bit the bullet and ended up purchasing it. This is an urban fantasy, and it follows Bryce, a main character who is half fae, as well as Hunt, I believe, who is kind of like a, I don't know if he's an angel, archangel or something like that, and they go on a quest together. I did start this yesterday, which was March 30th, I believe, but I only read like 55 pages. I did give myself a head start because this is not something I would usually read. As I mentioned, not a fantasy reader, but this really intrigued me, and for my OWLS, this is for a literacy class to read a book outside of your favorite genre. My favorite genre is YA contemporary / adult romance, so this is definitely a step outside, and it's also 800 pages long, so wish me luck. We then fell on a pink peanut, which means that I had to read 2 for the prompt because every time I fall on a candy, I made it a rule for myself that I had to read 2 of that prompt, which is YA contemporary. And for that, I also decided to use for my OWL prompts. The first book I decided to read is If It Makes You Happy by Claire Kahn. This is a book that has an overweight main character, and hopefully it does it justice. I know that this is about kind of like your self-esteem and just embracing who you are. It looks like a cutesy YA contemporary, and I used this for the prompt Herbology, to read a book that starts with I. But then I realized that a lot of people in their TBRs are saying that Herbology is a book that starts with M, so I'm really confused. I tried to look at G's things, but I always see I, so if someone can enlighten me, because if not I'm going to have to switch out this book for a book that starts with M. But yeah, that's what I have for this one. And then I also picked up a contemporary graphic novel, which is In Real Life by Cory Doctorow and Jen Wang. I love Jen Wang. She is a great she's great at illustrations, and so I decided I wanted to pick this one up. This one has to do with like virtual reality games, I believe, or online gaming, and how your personality online and in person can be totally different. This is just a little over 150 pages, but I'm still using it for the potions prompt, which is to read a book that is 150 pages or less, because it's one of my only options. I don't really have any novels that are less than 150 pages, and I didn't want to have to buy anything for the prompt, so I'm cheating a little bit and going a tiny bit over 150 pages. We then landed on another orange, which is TBR Vet, and that was a double orange again. And for that, I am also filling an OWLS prompt, and I'm going to read To Kill a Kingdom by Alexander Christo. This is obviously kind of like a siren mermaid book. I tried reading it, I believe, 2 years ago, and just wasn't in the right headspace, but I really love YA books that have to do with anything that has to do with water or pirates and mermaids. I really love that kind of stuff. It's one of my favorite fantasy genres. If I have to like go on a subgenre, I love everything that's related to that. This is a story about I think it's a siren and not a mermaid, that every year she kills a prince and takes his heart, and so we follow her and a prince who also wants to kill sirens for revenge because I believe they harmed his family or they're just very dangerous. So we follow them, and I believe maybe their love story or something like that. I've heard a lot of great things about this one, and I do want to give it another chance. Again, if I don't like it, I'll just unhaul it. But there it is. That's what I'm picking, and this one fulfills the prompt for Defense Against the Dark Arts, which was to read a book that has a setting near the sea or the coast. Obviously, I think we're good on that. Fell on another yellow, which is an anticipated book, and sadly in the month of March I didn't get to A Moment of Truth by Casey West, which Casey West is one of my all-time favorite authors. She just writes the most swoony, heartwarming romances that can just clear your headspace and bring you somewhere else. So I decided to move this on to April because it is a really anticipated book. I think I just wanted to make sure I was in the right headspace to read this with everything that's happening in the world, which hope you guys are staying safe. I just didn't want to ruin the experience reading this. This, I know, is about a main character who is a swimmer and also a mysterious person who disguises himself and nobody knows who he is, and he crashes a bunch of events at high schools, which I believe he crashes one of her swim meets, and I believe it is their love story. I don't like to know too much about Casey West's stories because they are like contemporary, easy to spoil, but I'm nonetheless really looking forward to this. Then I fell on another yellow, which means that it's another most anticipated, and for that I went with The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren, which I am so excited to read this. I love Christina Lauren, especially the Unhoneymooners. I know this one isn't everybody's cup of tea, and I didn't realize it was this short, but nonetheless, I'm so excited. I think I'm going to enjoy this one. This is about kind of like this HGTV power couple where I believe they work in like home restoration, and like this couple is very famous, but in the inside of the relationship it's not really going well, but they don't want people to know about that because they want to go on this book tour and they have to keep their career alive. So we follow that story, but also the story of two assistants to these people who don't really know each other at first but have to go on the book tour together and kind of moderate to make sure that nothing chaotic happens, and I believe it is their love story. This is a dual perspective narrative, which I always adore, so hopefully I'm not disappointed like most people were. And the last spin actually fell on red, which is romance, more specifically adult romance, not like YA because I use contemporary for that. And this was obviously to read a romance, but it is also my chance to finish my OWLS, like my mandatory OWLS, and so I chose to read Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, and this fulfills my OWLS because this was for Charms to read a book with a white cover. Clearly most of this is white, and this was actually something I won in a giveaway. We don't have Book of the Month in Canada, so I'm excited to have this edition. But this is an adult romance, and all I know is that it has rep of some kind for a disability, I believe, or maybe a chronic illness, and also a rep for a person of color. And it's kind of like, I think it's our main character realizing that she wants to do something different with her life, and she kind of goes out and tries to explore and say yes to more things because her illness is actually restricting her and she doesn't want that to happen anymore, and I believe she gets help from her landlord. I don't really know, but I've heard a lot of people give it really high reviews, so I decided to use this one to fulfill the prompt. So those are the 10 books I need to read in April, which should be doable considering I have not left my apartment in weeks because, you know, social distancing and online schooling and no more physiotherapy and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully I manage to do well. Let me know in the comments below if you guys are participating in the OWLS, what you're most looking forward to read in April, and I'll see you soon with another video.